In Palestine, a new Israeli attack on a mosque left hundreds dead and countless wounded in the central Gaza Strip. In China, the third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation opened with the presence of several world leaders. President Maduro has a meeting with the Venezuelan delegation that signed partial agreements with sectors of the opposition in Barbados. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We'll begin with the news. Stay with us. In Palestine, a new Israeli attack on a mosque left 100 dead and countless wounded in the central Gaza Strip. The Palestinian Health Ministry reported Palestinian civilians were killed instantly and others were wounded during an Israeli bombardment in the Al-Aqsa Martyrs Mosque in the Nusrat camp. The Health Ministry also detailed that at least 30 Palestinian citizens were killed after several homes were attacked in the north of the street by Israeli planes. And the United Nations registered at least 6 people killed when a school run by the UN Palestinian Refugee Agency in the central Gaza Strip was hit in an Israeli airstrike. Authorities also report thousands wounded, most of them children. The school was served as a shelter for some 4,000 displaced people since Israel's bombardment against Gaza began over a week ago. An estimated 1 million people have been displaced across the Gaza Strip.
A third of the casualties and martyrs that we have received are children. We have more than 60 children in the hospital who are displaced. There are bombings and targets around the hospital area that bring despair into the heart of these children.
The doctors took us outside to the courtyard of the hospital because there were not empty beds inside to accommodate this large number of injured people. And here we are, as you see, outside.
This Wednesday, Venezuela delivered to Egypt the first shipment of humanitarian aid for the people of Gaza, which continue to suffer indiscriminate attack by the Israeli occupation forces. The shipment consists of basic necessities for the people injured in the Israeli attacks. Venezuelan Foreign Minister Ivan Gil passed on his social account that the state demands respect for the human rights of the Palestinian people. In this context, the Venezuelan Foreign Minister called for a direct support plan through established humanitarian channels so that the people of Gaza can receive supplies. The United States vetoed a UN Security Council resolution on Wednesday calling for a humanitarian pause in the raging Israel-Hamas conflict. 12 out of 15 council members voted in favor of the resolution put forward by Brazil and negotiated over several days, while Russia and the United Kingdom abstained. The U.S. was the only vote against, but has one of the body's 5 parliament members. Its vote counts as a veto. In the U.S., citizens rallied at the Capitol to demand an end to the total side of the Tel Aviv regime against the Gaza Strip. Under the slogan, "Ceasefire Now," representative of the Jewish movement's rally inside the Cannon House office, one of the buildings that make up the structure of the legislative headquarters. At the same time, thousands of people protested outside the building and in other areas of the U.S. Capitol to reject the Israeli abuses. So often we hear from Israeli spokesmen that their missiles executed Arab terrorists. This happened this Saturday when shelling fired by the occupying army hit a house in the Shevet village on the southern border of Lebanon. Alejandro Kier, our teleSUR special envoy, went to the scene. Let's have a look at what he found out.
In this house, up the hill, live the Lebanese elders Stan and Sanin. The Israeli occupation army classified them as terrorists and murdered them with 2 accurate missiles. They called for help after the first hit. The second one wiped them out. and this is what was left of their home. This is the owner of the house and the brother of one of them.
Part of the resistance that is going to use all its strength to reclaim our territories in the borders of Sheba and in Palestine. What was taken by force cannot be recovered by force. We are firm. We will not leave. We will not leave the city. Since the creation of this entity, Israel has bombed the border village, especially the villages of Arqub. They have left us hundreds of martyrs and wounded. But with the help of God, we will stay. We will have patience. We will see the end.
On the border between Lebanon and Syria is one of the many wounds opened by the occupation in Palestine. Behind these mountains are the Golden Heights, taken by Zionism from Syria, and the Shiva farms, stolen from Lebanon. The village is large, low density, nestled in the rock.
Yes, we live off our land, our homes, and our work. That's why we stand firm. That is why we are going to keep this country with our land and our heritage here. This country, despite all of the risk and the difficulties, yes, we live in our land and all that difficulties and risk are in this country.
Marrakesh is the name of the delicious bread that comes from the hands of this specialist who does not want to give her name. The only modern technology here is gas, and, if you like, the cushion. She sells her product 20 meters from the wall that separates Lebanon from the occupied Palestine.
War is back. It's completely back. But we are not afraid. We live in our homes away from fear. It is normal for many people. We are not stupid. We are proud here. And what we live is not normal. I mean, the only fear we have is for the little children.
Desde la frontera del Líbano con Palestina ocupada, Alejandro Kirk, teleSUR.
Let's take a very short break, but remember you can now join us on our TikTok account as teleSUR English, where you'll be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. On Wednesday, the Third Belt and Road Forum for International Cooperation opened in China with the presence of several world leaders. At the opening of the forum, Chinese President Xi Jinping delivered a speech in which he stressed that the initiative was born with the aspiration to promote connectivity in politics, infrastructure, trade, and people-to-people financing with all countries sought as to inject new impetus into the world economy, create new opportunities for global development, and build a new platform for international economic cooperation.
It is important that we have a specific agreement between Russia and China about parallel and coordinated development of the EAEU and the BRI. We also have a non-preferential agreement about trade and economic cooperation between the EAEU member states and the PRC. To unite efforts to implement this agreement, we have established a joint commission. In February of this year, a detailed roadmap was adopted that in particular includes establishing interaction between the Eurasian Union and China in trade policy and transport corridors digitalization. I'll point out that integration agenda, in the widest meaning, is an integral part of Russian national development strategy and strengthening our economic, technological and financial sovereignty.
President Xi Jinping is willing to strengthen the Belt and Road Initiative project and other programs for the sake of the global economy based on multilateral relations.
Third, carrying out practical cooperation. China will promote both signature projects and small yet smart livelihood programs. The China Development Bank and the Export-Import Bank of China will each set up a 350 billion yuan financing window. An additional 80 billion yuan will be injected into the Silk Road Fund. Together, they will support BRI projects on the basis of market and business operation. Cooperation agreements worth $97.2 billion have been concluded at the CEO conference held during this forum. China will also carry out 1,000 small-scale livelihood assistance projects.
Argentina President Alberto Fernandez held a bilateral meeting on Wednesday with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping at the Great Hall of People in Beijing, where they reaffirmed the continuity of the joint work of the Belt and Road. In the meeting, the Chinese leader highlighted the strategic relationship between the two countries forged during the 4 years of the presidency of Alberto Fernandez, whom he thanks for the support and strengthening of the relationship. In this context, Xi Jinping stated that his country will continue to encourage investment by the Chinese companies in Argentina, in addition to promoting imports of Argentine products. And during his speech at the opening ceremony on Wednesday, Argentine President stated that the Belt and Road Initiative is a boost to regional cooperation mechanisms and is conducive to promoting relations among countries around the world.
Presently, hegemony is decaying and regional frictions are ceaseless. In this context, the BRI, with the concept of co-building, has become a promising global cooperative initiative. For us, supporters of multilateralism, the BRI is a mechanism promoting relations among countries. It does not compete with existing regional cooperation mechanisms, but dovetail them by tapping their respective advantages. We also appreciate the Chinese government for supporting us to join the BRICS cooperation mechanism. The countries covered by the mechanism all advocate rejecting hegemony, respecting multilateralism, and rethinking international relations on this basis.
Let's take our last break, but before we invite you to visit our YouTube channel at teleSUR English, where you'll be able to watch on interviews, top stories, special broadcasts, and more. Hit the subscribe button and active the notification bell to stay up to date on the world's most recent events. One final short break, don't go away. Welcome back. President Maduro holds a dialogue after the Venezuelan delegation signed partial agreements with sector of the opposition in Barbados. President Maduro highlighted the leadership of Commander Hugo Chavez in the achievements of the signing of the peace agreements, affirming that peace is always the right path against violence and ignorance. He also affirmed that Venezuela is on the right path and on the right side of history by taking these steps to achieve peace. Moreover, he stated that this step is a victory for the government and the Venezuelan people. In Chile, the 19th edition of the Pan American Games begins on October 18th, ahead of the opening ceremony on October 20th. This is the top continental event for national Olympic committees in North, Central, and South America and the Caribbean. Paris 2024 Olympic qualification codes are also available in 13 sports. The first sport to see action this Wednesday is baseball, with the opening match between host Chile and Mexico. The Santiago 2023 mascot is named Few. It is a bird inspired by the Rush tyrant, which has 7 colors and is indigenous to the South America. the Cuban moved in from Pinar del Rio, the westernest province of Cuba, presents an altruistic and inspiring life story, that of the therapeutic clown Viviana Lescano.
It is Sunday and there is a matinee for children at the Copelia Ice Cream Parlor in Pinar del Rio. The clowns Barquillito, Alegrina and Cariñito entertain the children together with clown Florecita, who suffers from a genetic syndrome.
That girl could not move her head. She was like an immovable piece of wax. Today she sings and dances with us because she liked the clowns. We started to make her smile.
Clown Barquillito never studied acting, but she did study singing, solfa, and piano. Her name is Vivian Lescano and she is 66 years old. She tells teleSUR that she has always liked clowns, but when she was a child there was none in Pinar del Rio. She had to wait until she was 10 years old to have one brought to her from Havana, and she was delighted.
That's when I started. They said I had a lot of charisma, that I was very naughty, very loud, and then they always laughed at all my craziness, and that's how it all started.
Vivian has been working at the Copelia Ice Cream Parlor in the city of Pinar del Rio for 30 years. She has been a cashier, a salon manager, and today she is an integrated salesperson. She has been looking for children's smiles for a long time, sometimes in this Sunday matinee and sometimes in different wards at the children's hospital of her province as a therapeutic clown. She received a preparatory workshop 7 years ago, although she admits to having worked on her own for a long time before that.
I had stomach cancer 20 years ago, and in the chemotherapy room there was a 14-year-old girl with beautiful hair waiting for her 15th birthday, and she was hanging on her father's arm, and when we entered the chemo room, we thought that the one who was going to sit down to receive chemo was her father, but instead it was the girl. That shocked me immensely, and well, I tried to tell stories to make her laugh because she was going to lose her hair, and I started to make jokes, and the chemo appointments were already waiting for me to tell them stories. We were laughing.
It is now Sunday afternoon, and Barquillito, Alegrina and Cariñito are cheering up the lives of the children in the special care ward of the Pepe Portilla Provincial Pediatric Teaching Hospital in Pinar del Rio. What qualities must a person who is devoted to therapeutic clowning have?
A very big heart, and mine is already affected to love children very much, to love this profession very much, because it is a profession that comes from the heart. Nobody teaches it to you. It is something you are born with. And I believe that it is good to make others happy, to give them a little breath and life so that they can breathe and move forward, and even better to be a role model, because I was one of those who refused to take the chemo at first. And I have been here for 20 years fighting against all this, but I am alive. Thanks to my doctors, thanks to the Cuban health system, thanks to the one who is no longer here, who gave me everything so that I could go forward, and Fidel Castro.
What is the most wonderful thing that has happened to you in this profession you have made up?
The smiles of the children who see me in the streets and recognize me. They say goodbye grandma, goodbye clown, and they remember me, and when they come out of rehabilitation, they sometimes they end up going to my matinees every Sunday, because that's how lovely children are.
And what is the saddest thing you've gone through?
To see a child suffering. Children should not get sick. We always walk out with a broken heart, but always thankful that they are alive.
Barquillito says that her daughters were embarrassed that their mother was a clown until one Mother's Day when they went to see her at the matinee. Today they are proud of the altruistic work she does. Vivian says she will continue to spread joy because Cuba needs it.
I will continue to provide smiles so that this bitter drink that we are going through at this moment, which may be temporary because nothing lasts forever, we can all come to see the blockade come to an end, to see everything that keeps us from flourishing and continuing to smile come to an end.
Clown Barquillito never gets tired of saying that there should be nothing more important in the world than the smile of a child.
Fabiola López, teleSUR, Pinar del Río, Cuba.
And with that story, we have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, on X, and on Instagram as well. For telesur English, I'm from the south, I'm Ana Marrero. Thank you for watching.